Can't believe this. I don't know. Oh, camera's off. Ah, no, I got it. I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm not that organized. Obviously, the camera was off. Okay, well, here we are. And I wanted to talk to you today about 3 things that you absolutely must consider before you move into a van. And the reason is because if you don't consider these, you may very well end up out on the road with something that you don't want. If you're new to my channel, my name is Pam, and I live in a van, obviously, and full-time for almost 6 years. I have a puppy doggy. He's here in my lap, and let's keep it that way. We're getting ready to leave the city to go and spend a couple of days in someplace out in the boonies. However, it is really cold today. So here are the 3 things that you need to keep in mind. No, you need to figure out before you before you buy something, okay? The first thing, and this is, for me, this is like a no-brainer to figure this one out first, because if you don't, then you're really going to be in problems. And that is, are you going to live off-grid or are you going to be in campgrounds? 2 totally separate things. If you're going to live in a campground and be plugged in to water and sewer and all of those things all the time, then you don't need the type of power that you need if you're going to be off-grid. If you are going to be off-grid, then you need enough power to keep everything powered, obviously, that you have. And you may have a little refrigerator. I got a great set power that I can show you. And you may have, you got lights. You got to charge up your phones and your computers and all of those things. And so if you're going to be off-grid, then you need to make sure that you know how much power you need and be able to accomplish that in some way. For instance, solar. And that may or may not be enough, because today it is a lousy, cloudy day. And even if the sun was out, it's low in the sky this time of year. So you don't get the amount of sun you need to keep your solar going. You're going to need a good amount of battery power. Some 300, 400 amp lithium batteries is something you're going to have to consider. Maybe a generator to keep it charged up, to keep your batteries charged up. Or maybe you a DC to DC, so they charge whenever you're driving. That is something to consider very much, because I didn't. And I've had to do different things in order to make it happen for me. The second thing is bathroom. What are you going to be comfortable with? Because no matter what you say, that is something that we all have to deal with, and it can be a big problem. It can be something that you dread a lot. So we don't want you to get, constipated because you don't do what you're supposed to do. But anyway, so you got some choices. Like, do you want a bathroom? If you do, then that's going to determine what kind of van that you're going to buy. You're going to buy something with, and when I say a bathroom, I mean like a regular toilet. And if that's the case, then you're going to need to have a black tank. And you're going to have enough water in order to use it. That's one solution, and that's the one I have. That's not the one I might get if I were to do it again. So if you're not comfortable with that, or you don't want to do that, then you got to decide. Are you going to be okay with a cassette toilet? And they make those like the $100 Amazon ones that you're sitting right on the floor, but they make other ones, cassettes. There's a lot of different choices. What about a compost toilet? Those are really great, but they're kind of complicated from what I can tell. You need power and venting, for instance. So, but I know a lot of people who use a Home Depot bucket, and they buy the little, the flush cover that you sit on, and pellets, and bag it up and throw it in dumpsters with a pea jar. So are you comfortable with that? So these are things you really need to decide before you buy your van. Number 3, cooking. Do you like to cook? Do you want to cook? If you live alone, then like me, I don't really care about cooking that much, but you might. I don't have an oven, but if you want to bake things, then you need to consider getting a stove with an oven. Are you going to get a gas or electric stove? If you're going to get electric and you're going to be off grid, then that's something else you need to consider, how much more power you have. If you're going to have gas, then you need to be able to establish how you're going to get gas to the stove and the oven. You're going to have an onboard propane tank, that's what I have, or are you going to have the the canisters and keep them somewhere near the stove so that you can keep them filled? Do you want gas or electric? Which do you prefer to cook on? How many burners do you want? How are you going to figure that out? How are you going to have enough room in your countertop? You don't have much room in here in order to have a stove with an oven. Figure those 3 things out before you buy or build out a van. Don't do it so that you're sorry later. I would have chosen things differently if I had known then what I know now. I would have been more prepared to be off grid because I don't stay in campgrounds. I might not have had the black tank because you do have to deal with that once a week. Go somewhere, make sure that you're, in a place somewhere. And cooking, I'm okay with that. Although a lot of vans, this one too, come with a 1-burner induction cooktop, and that's all they have. And I didn't want to use that electric, so I did have installed a 2-burner gas cooktop put in my countertop, and it runs off from my onboard propane tank. So therefore, off grid, bathroom, cooking. Make sure you know those 3 things. Anyway, that's my van life mini talk today. Be sure and check out everything in my description because I got so many fun things in there. You want to buy some Christmas gifts? So if you want my address, you can buy anything that I have listed in there in the 88 items for gifts for Vanlifers or RVers or anybody who lives in a small space. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today. We're heading out. Got to go into Walmart, pick up a few groceries. Oh, thank you, Jasper. I love Colorado. No, thank you for loving my work. I appreciate that. I really do, because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But thank you for saying that. And Colorado is probably getting cold, so I'm not going that way. I'm going to Arizona next. But I was up there. I went to Breck and saw the aspens this year, and it was really special. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. Listen to the whole thing if you're just coming on now, because these are 3 important things. And I will see you from the boonies somewhere tomorrow.